You got a gun, got a big gun, you got a gun, it's not a real one, and all you ever think about is running away, all you ever think about is trying to stay away from me.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Not Safe for Work MMA show right here on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. Please check out the shows on the rest of the network. You can find the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. I am Kyle Steele, your host, and joining me per usual is Mr. Frederick Kirby. Hello, Fred.
Young man.
What up?
Listen, we're about to make this fucking show not safe for work immediately. I see we're at 50 seconds over there, and already, if you're at work, cut it off. Because let me tell you something. I've heard that fucking song, our intro song, now a million times. And I may have said this before. I smoked too much. I don't remember. But have I ever told you that I think he's not talking about a gun?
What do you think he's talking about?
I think he's talking about a cock.
You think so?
Yeah. He says he's got a big one. He says it's not real. So I think it's a dildo, to be more to the point.
Yeah. Or just not a gun.
Oh, well, no, a dildo. I think he's,
Okay.
I've got a big gun,
No.
Guns fire, so immediately I thought about cock, and then he said it's not a real one. Actually, it's probably not a he. It's probably a girl that wrote this song about her big dildo that she affords her lesbian lover violent orgasms with.
All right. So let me just real quick. I know the man who wrote this song.
I knew this was coming.
He's a good friend of mine. And listen, music is best left up to the interpretation of the listener. 100%. Shows, TV, any art is best left up to the interpretation of the reader. So I'll let you go with that. But let me just tell you, as the person who knows the man who wrote it, that is not what he is talking about. There's a 0% chance.
Fair enough. I'm sticking with the lesbian story. I like it more now.
Go check out Kevin and the Octaves. Just an absolutely wonderful band. They got some good albums on there. You've heard multiple songs in this network by them. They're a band based out of Cincinnati. The lead singer / probably plays every instrument in that song is my guess. His name is Eric, and he owns Moonlight Studios. So if you are a musician out here, I think it's one of the best studios pretty much in this part of Ohio. So please go check out that studio if you are a musician in Ohio.
I know.
All right.
Are we going to do this? Are we going to start it off like this? Are we doing it?
Start off with the election stuff?
With the politics.
Sure. Listen,
we do. Listen, we got a new commander in chief. I mean, we do.
We've been political on here, and I think this is an MMA podcast. I think people are probably really tired of politics, and they just want to listen to MMA. So we'll keep it relatively brief. But this is an historic election with historic voter turnout. There's a bunch of crazy shit going on. It's really hard not to talk about it. I mean, it just happened.
Sure.
Literally, it just fucking happened.
Like the word. Is it even official yet? To be fair,
of course not.
So it's not actually official. You know what would be wild? Is if Biden didn't win, and they were just like, "Whoopsie daisy."
Yeah, I mean
Pennsylvania was a bit of a slip, boys. Never mind, we lied. We take it back.
So that very well might happen. I mean, not because of that, but because as they go through the court process, there is a very real possibility that they're going to unearth fraud. I don't think they're going to, but these are crazy circumstances and how this all went about. If you're an uber liberal person, I would ask you to be realistic. Look at this from a conservative viewpoint or just a viewpoint of someone who isn't like uber liberal, right? Try to separate yourself from that for a moment and look at what happened. One, you had multiple states that were won by Joe Biden at this point, from what we can tell. Yet the House and Senate, one or the other and or both, remained Republican, right? So that right there kind of jumps out as a red flag. I don't think that it is. But again, I'm just asking you to take on that bird's eye, step out of your views for a second, and just imagine how odd that looks to people who are going to be skeptical about this. The way the votes came in, I know why they came in that way. Most of us understand why they came in that way. But the people who are upset at Trump losing, that's not how they're filtering it through their brains. They're not filtering it through, it's the mail-in vote and it took forever and you had, quadruple the amount of mail-in votes that you normally do,
Right.
and then most of that's going to go left because the people who take COVID more seriously tends to be left-leaning.
The whole goddamn world is fucked right now. I mean, we can't, for fuck's sakes, we're still dealing with a global pandemic. Everything is weird everywhere.
So just try to understand from the other side. Please, I'm begging you to just understand from the other side. It looks real fucking weird. We have a generally speaking wonderful court system. They will take care of this. Votes will get certified. Things will get counted. Bipartisan committees and whatever else will oversee recounts and whatever else needs to happen. And that's exactly what should happen. And that's going to happen. And if at the end of the day, Biden is truly the winner, I think people will calm the fuck down, and you have 4 years to figure out how to get him out of office if you don't want him in there. It really is, I think, that simple. I'm relatively left-leaning, so are you. I just think people are just out of their minds right now, and I get it. It makes sense. So just chill out, everybody. Let the courts do their thing. It needs to happen. Everything was way too close. There's too many question marks. There's a lot of misinformation going around that just isn't true that people are latching onto as well. But that's why we have a court system. They'll weed all that stuff out.
Right.
The court system is not going to be skewed by the Daily Mirror. That's not how that works. So
one would hope not.
If fraud exists, it will get unearthed. And if at the end of the day that fraud led to somebody being elected erroneously, it's going to get flipped. So just chill out and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit more cynical than you and a bit more jaded about this whole fucking process, to be a little honest. I just sort of feel like, look, I'm neither happy nor mad that Sleepy Joe won, if he did. I'm not celebrating. I'm not mad. I just still don't really understand why we got him. Where's Bernie? I still feel like it's bullshit, low-key. I feel like dude raised the most money, so that's why we got him. Might he be a better president than Trump? Probably. I don't know. Might he be worse because he's a career politician? I don't really know. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I don't think that Trump was particularly draining the fucking swamp like he said he was going to. I still think it was pretty much business as usual as far as fucking, rich, cute cocksuckers running the planet goes. But I also don't think that Biden is a superhero. I don't think that he's going to come in and change that thing either. I'm just too jaded with this political shit, to be honest with you. I feel like no matter who wins, I don't think they're the fucking Antichrist, but I do think that it's just politics as usual. It's going to be sort of the same jive that it's been for the last how many ever years in this country. I wasn't alive for the whole Kennedy thing, but maybe that was the last time that we had a real one and they had to snuff his ass. Because since then, it just feels like more of the same no matter what party wins. Again, I would say that I wouldn't say I'm uber liberal. Being uber liberal these days means something completely different. But I'm super fucking liberal. But do I think that, say Biden does win, let's just operate under the assumption that that's true. Do I think that shit's about to get a lot better because of that? Do I think that he's about to clear things up or something? I don't really. I mean, might you be able to make the argument that Trump being up there was divisive, and the way he spoke sort of agitated certain groups of people and sort of made them come for each other? Maybe, but I don't think that shit disappears. I don't think that the people that were racist just fucking magically become unracist. Right. I don't think they're going to stop. I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter a terrible amount. So for better or for worse, everybody should probably fucking chill. There's no need. Everybody was predicting civil war no matter what side won. And it's yo, fucking just lose graciously, whoever you are. Civil war for what? And that's what's so hilarious. Civil war? Are you fucking people retarded? No, we're not supposed to say that word. Excuse me. Suck my ass. But yeah, that's a good idea. Let's all of us poor people start fucking killing each other in the street. That'll really teach them, won't it? What the fuck's the matter with us, man? Like, yeah, let's all fucking go to war and shoot each other. That's the fucking plan to teach the man, go to fucking work, save your money, focus on your family, invest in the best thing you can to create as much income as you can for your family. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, what's really real in this country, money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah.
If you can generate a lot of fucking income, you can do a lot of things. For good, that's the whole thing with all of these things that we're talking about, whether it's Black Lives Matter or the police. You know what all y'all need? Money. Lots of it. It helps everybody get things done better. I hate to be the fucking devil guy that money's the root of all evil, but it's just true. If you make enough money, you can move mountains with the shit. Focus on that. Don't focus on complaining about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, who the president is. Focus on your life and how you're generating income, because that's what's going to ultimately matter for you at the end of the day.
100%.
So, that, it doesn't matter to me, but I don't want to see people fucking freaking out. You know what I mean? Even the Trump supporters. Like, again, I'm super left, but don't fret, guys. It's going to be all right. I know that probably some of you extremists out there think that Joe Biden or the liberals are going to come take your guns or sort of open up the fucking
borders.
Yeah, open up the borders, which is okay. We got to stop because I'm going to get on a rant here. But just for the record, you people. Anybody out there who thinks that that's actually going to happen, you've got to calm down. You've got to smoke you a little dope or have some booze or get you some sort of drugs in you that calm you down. Because I promise you, no matter who is running this government, they are never, ever, ever going to come try to take your guns. First off, it's logically or fucking impossible to do. There's no way they could possibly do it. And B, they're never going to open the borders. Boys and girls, no country on this planet has open fucking borders. Where it's just sure, anybody come in, live, stay, don't pay taxes, fuck our old lady. That will never, ever, 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 ever happen. I don't give a fuck what you think you heard Kamala Harris say or what Sleepy Joe might have said when he was having a seizure. I promise you, nobody's taking nobody's guns. Nobody is opening no fucking borders. Those things are just not. If you're actually worried about that, which I'm sure the logical of you are not, but if you actually think that, I promise you, bro, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and it's akin to, when Trump was campaigning and saying stuff he was going to do and people were losing their minds. And listen, especially back then, I was hyper political. So I was on that train as well of just hanging on to every word and going, oh, if that's what he's saying, then that's what's going to happen. And I think I had a lot of Republicans, respectful Republicans, who were like, dude, that's not going to happen.
Right.
He's not going to be able to do that. He's not actually going to do that.
Right.
He's riling people up, and it is what it is, right? So,
and that's what they do as politicians. They all do that.
I have respect for that, and I think I've grown a lot, and although my growth now is I'm just trolling everybody. I'm getting blocked by Republicans and Democrats at this point, so I'm having a blast. But yeah, it's impossible not to be hypocritical in this scenario. Obviously when Republicans won, and we'll get off this right now, but when Republicans won back in 2016, I mean, it was because of Russian collusion, right? And we hung on to that narrative for a long time. And we were not gracious losers then, right? So
y'all hung on to that narrative, Jack. I was just like, yo, he won. It took me about 6 hours to be like, well, fuck it, here we go. I mean, whether I like it or not, it is what it is. People kill me with that. The people that years later, it's right. Bro, if you don't go get you some pussy and chill out, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. Same with this. Bro, you know how many fucking Trump supporters out there are just not going to want to let this go? It's going to drive them crazy for 4 years. I implore you guys, please don't do that. Just let it go, man. Don't
be the people that you were hating that whole time,
man.
right?
Yeah, man.
Do you see how miserable those people were?
Sure.
Don't do that too.
Right.
Don't just hang on to this thing and obsess over it forever because it's
fucking
not
give you
worth
cancer, man.
If at the end of the day, if they go through the court system and Biden won, then Biden won. Just fucking leave it be.
Right.
Don't be the people that you hate. Because I agree, you're going to drive yourself nuts.
Literally.
So, all right, let's get off of this now.
Let's get to the good shit, because there's actually some really juicy shit for us to talk about last night, too.
Do you
quite
wanna,
a few things.
Do you want to... Where do you want to start?
Let's see. All right, so what happened? We had Thiago Santos making some very strange decisions.
So you want to start?
Well, I'm just giving the fucking bullet points of what happened last night. We had that. Thiago Santos doing some weird shit there in the main event. Who the fuck was the co-main? What happened in the co-main? Refresh my memory.
Oh, boy.
Okay, you don't know either. What the fuck happened last night?
I have to pull it up so I can look at it.
I know the main card was good. Co-main. Why the fuck am I blank? Oh, Arlovsky. Arlovsky fought in the co-main.
The beard.
Yes. Oh, yeah. What a fucking beard that guy still got. Right? Jesus Christ, that's an impressive beard. Yeah, okay, whatever. Bring the fucking card up so we can remember this shit. I can't remember nothing.
It's just a lot easier to do.
We could start the main event. I do remember all the talking points from there, but that's also sort of the cum shot with this one. So
right.
I don't want to just go straight to fucking Thiago being a fucking idiot.
Claudia lost.
Claudia, yeah, but that fight was close, though, right? It was a little closer than people assumed. I think people were assuming that the Asian broad was just going to come out and fucking run roughshod over.
Trevin Giles beat Bevan Lewis.
He looked good. Actually, this was a good card, actually.
Dude, the Max Griffin fight.
Holy fuck. That's when he blew his ear off, right?
Yeah, man.
Woo! I love those moments where, you know what happens every time I see something like that, when something really bad, like a bad injury happens? And it's kind of
do you remind yourself that this is on Disney?
Well, no, that's not what it is. It's relevant though because the Ultimate Fighter's coming back. But it just so you want to be a fucking fighter, Dana White, when he's like fucking 32. So you want to be every time I see a brutal injury, it just those words. So you want to be because when you're watching some of these fights, everyone. I mean, listen, I'm fucking old and stoned and fat now, but sometimes I'm watching the fights and I'm like, man, you know what? My younger days, Jack, I probably could have. This wouldn't have been that bad. You fucking train. I see Izzy fucking smoking weed now, so clearly motherfuckers can smoke weed and still be great. I think, maybe that would have been for me. And then you catch a fight like that and you see somebody get their fucking ear knocked off their head, and I think, you know what, actually, I think that would have been it for me.
I'm good.
Good. I couldn't handle one of those, Jack. That motherfucker's ear literally almost flew off his fucking head. That was disgusting.
It's wild.
Max Griffin looked good, though.
Have we talked about how much Bevan Lewis looks like, oh my God, what's his nuts? Just fought Anderson Silva. Uriah Hall.
I don't know, Kyle. I mean.
Do you see it?
A little.
Do you see it?
A little, yeah. Okay, a little. I was fixing to call you a racist, but a little bit.
He does, right?
A little bit.
I call me racist.
I was going to say, Jesus, Kyle, I didn't think they looked that much like, they're dark-skinned, my dude, but other than that.
When I saw him yesterday, I was like, he looks a lot like
a little bit. I seen a little bit there. That picture showed a bit.
You're like, they have one thing in common.
Yeah, I see. One thing comes to mind, but I don't know about anything else particularly. I do want to give a shout-out to Darren Elkins, though. I hate his tattoo and his eyeballs, and most of everything about Darren Elkins annoys the piss out of me.
Eyeballs.
Yeah, you know how they fucking dance around and stuff. I don't love that. But I tell you what, the cute little cocksucker deserves his credit,
That's
boy.
one of the funniest things you've said, and I don't know why.
It's rude, but it's true. Every time I see Darren Elkins, he makes me nervous.
I don't
with those
like
fancy
his
eyeballs.
tattoo or his eyeballs.
I mean, that tattoo stuff.
I then press you on it. You're like, well, they dance around. I don't like it.
Yeah, you know how it is. But cute cocksucker breaks the record for takedowns and at featherweight. I mean,
And a fight that at one point he was losing.
Yeah, and I mean he was an underdog, right? If I'm not mistaken, he was supposed to take a beating in that fight, I think. And
he's been an underdog quite a bit at this.
He was low key getting lit up on the feet a little bit, but man, he does have a crazy sort of fucking pressure to him, Jack.
Yeah,
He's the sort of guy that I would fucking hate to fight in the octagon. I would much rather fight, Darren Till. Yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit. But I would hate a motherfucker like Darren Elkins just being on me like white on rice.
I mean, at one point, he was.
Oh yeah, he was actually a legit player a little bit. I mean, he's been
in the UFC since UFC was on Versus. He was on UFC. His debut was on UFC Versus 1 against Dwayne Ludwig.
Wow,
that was his debut.
Wow. I knew he'd been around for a long time, but Dwayne Bang Ludwig, and what the fuck?
It was the fight when Dwayne Ludwig messed up his ankle.
Oh, God, yeah, just looking at the names there from this distance, he's fought everybody, hasn't he? Yep. Oh, Steven Seiler, you remember Steven Seiler? Mm-hmm. Diego Brandao, we all remember him from the Conor McGregor fight. Chad Mendez.
His first group of losses were Charles Oliveira, Chad Mendez, Jeremy Stevens, and Hecron Diaz.
Yeah,
those
and
are his first series of losses.
He's got a win over fucking Hioki,
and then
which was a big deal at the time.
And then Chaz Skelly, I think, was a bit of a coming out for him.
Got Fredo Pepe was a good
Chaz
win.
Skelly at the time was maybe undefeated.
Yo, the Mirsad Bektik
the
fight.
big comeback in that.
Yeah, that fight was wild. He finished him. Didn't win the fight, but he finished him.
He goes on this big stretch, right? Robert Whiteford, which is whatever. Then Chaz Skelly, Godfredo Pepe, Mirsad Bektik, which was a big comeback, gets a split decision over Dennis Bermudez, then beats Michael Johnson. And
Holy
it's like,
shit.
all right, here we go.
And then
lose to Alexander Volkanovski,
by
loses
decision.
to Ricardo Lamas, loses to Ryan Hall, and then loses to Nate Lindweir.
Yo, to be fair, though, he's only been finished by Lamas. Volkanovski didn't finish him. I tell you what, dude, let me ask you that question, because I put a lot of stock into getting finished or not getting finished. Now, to be fair, I realize there are some fights where you don't get finished, but you did everything but get finished. You were like getting the fuck beat out of you the whole time. But a fight where it's like somewhat close, or you at least make it the distance as opposed to getting finished, I think that sort of matters, man. It means a lot to me, kind of. If you've never been finished in your career, I sort of hold that up a little bit.
The problem with that is that there are game plans that just allow people to get to the end. It's similar in like football, where just because people score a bunch of points in a game doesn't mean the defense is bad. Like that could have been the type of defense they're playing is allowing for more yards and maybe allowing for more points ultimately because they're forcing drives to be longer, so that way, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I
they're
listen.
eating time
I
up,
know
whatever
what
it
you're.
is. Like,
I know what you're saying, but for me, it doesn't hold up with fighting because there's always a Jorge Masvidal to the Ben Askren. Like, there's always Ben Askren's game plan's cute, but Jorge's was better, and it ended the night immediately. So it's like, I get what you're saying, but. Fuck your game plan. Even if your game plan is to hug all, even if you have the safest game plan in the world, shoot in, dive on a double leg, it's still a fair fight, and I have all the opportunity in the world to kick, knee, or fucking elbow you in the face on your way in. It's my fault if I can't stop you. And quite frankly, it's your talent. If I just cannot, look at Habib. Everybody's trying to get crazy about his striking. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Habib is not a good boxer.
Yep.
He is just such an insane grappler and pressure-heavy fighter that fuckers can't hit the cocksucker.
Yeah. How did you feel about the decision in the co-main?
Who won? Did Arlovsky win?
Arlovsky won.
I'm all right with it. Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. Arlovsky did seem like he was landing the heavier shots. Old boy seemed like he was a little more active, but I hate those fights where nothing really happens. So, like, the only time anybody sort of got rocked at all, it was when Arlovsky landed, and that was only like maybe 2 to 3 times a fight. But other than that, Tanner fucking Boozer, whatever the fuck, he didn't ever really have Arlovsky in trouble. He was coming forward a lot and sort of landing some leg kicks, but at the end of the day, there was maybe 3 strikes that actually sort of had somebody rocked, and Arlovsky landed all of them. So,
yeah.
But just quickly to put a bow on that, for what? Why are we doing this? I mean, Arlovsky, son, we talk about Diego Sanchez being old. I be forgetting that Arlovsky still fights. Andre Arlovsky. I don't even remember the first Andre Arlovsky fight I saw. I mean, when did that fucker fight in the UFC for the first time?
UFC 28.
28? I just about fainted. 28?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that happened in a gymnasium with no fucking cameras.
It was UFC 28 at high.
Who the fuck did he
stakes.
fight at UFC? High stakes, of course it was. Who the fuck did he fight there?
It was Aaron Brink, and then at UFC 32 it was Rico Rodriguez.
Of course it was Rico Rodriguez, because he's only fucking 900 years old.
And UFC 36, it was Pedro Hizzo.
You see? And listen, That ain't when Fedor fighting
Then he
Pedro
gets at UFC 40. He gets a win over Ian Freeman, which I think Ian Freeman was already starting he was already going his descent.
Dude,
at
what
that
year
point,
is that? Fucking 02?
Boy, probably.
I mean, that.
Oh no, he made his debut in 2000. He's been in the UFC
for 20 years.
17, 2000 was his UFC debut.
Christ
so he will be in
almighty.
the UFC for 20 years.
Well, I don't know whether to fucking congratulate him on
His
getting
career
this win,
disclosed earnings is $5.6 million.
which means,
almost 5.7.
Which means he's probably made about 10. Overall, because you got to remember, there for a long time, they made big money on sponsors. That's like when he was actually the pit bull and the champion and shit. Arlovsky probably made some good little coin in the beginning of his career in them sponsor days. And tell you what, too, man, for all the youngins out there that don't remember, boy, there was a time when Andrei Arlovsky was a motherfucker. He looked like a fucking goddamn Russian model. He had the fucking the goddamn mouthpiece with the. I tweeted last night. I'm such a dick. I'm sorry on Twitter. I just be talking shit. I really don't mean it. But after the fight, I tweeted Andre the golden retriever Arlovsky, because I feel like he doesn't really have that. You know, when he would rock, oh boy. Because listen, to be fair, I had him on DraftKings, so I was really hoping that he'd come through for me and get a knockout. And he'd hit dude and put him on ice skates a little bit, and I'd be like, fucking go there, go now. Like, now's how you get the finish, Andre. He's hurt. Swarm him and keep swinging until the fucking fat Canadian drops. But he would pop him, put him on ice skates, and then sort of jump back and marvel at his work a little bit, like, ha, I still got it. That felt good, didn't it? Holy fuck. It almost looked like he was surprised it happened. Like, well, holy shit, it landed. And he stumbled a little bit. What the fuck do I do now? It's like, God damn it, Arlovsky. You're the pit bull, right? You just got a good bite. Go for the fucking throat. He's fucking on wobbly legs. You're in distance. You found your range. Son, let your hands go and finish this fool. But he didn't. He'd hit him, stumbling, back up, and sort of let him gain his composure and just not get the finish. I'm like, God damn it. Arlovsky, what the fuck are you doing?
Be a hunter.
Yeah, what the fuck? But to be fair, so just to wrap up, I don't know what we're doing with Arlovsky at this fucking point in the game. I mean, he got to win, but
I think we're just giving him random people.
I get, yeah, honestly. I don't think
there's.
I don't even think he's really a gatekeeper at this point. You can't put Arlovsky in there with somebody who you think might be the next big thing. They'll beat the fuck out of him.
Give him Greg Hardy.
Ooh, you know what? I'm not particularly mad at that, actually. Give him Greg Hardy. All right. I mean, he'll probably knock Arlovsky out, and that'll put me on suicide watch. But, I mean, Arlovsky's a fucking crafty veteran. What the fuck, right? Speaking of crafty veterans, let's talk about this goddamn main event.
All right. Watching your Twitter timeline as this fight was unfolding was one of the highlights of my night. I had a good night last night. This is one of the highlights of my night, was just watching you descend into madness, watching Diego Santos.
Was it not the most damnedest thing you'd ever seen? I mean, real talk. We've seen some people make some bad decisions in the octagon and have some stupid. Okay. Let me back up. Let me not just start it with the disrespect. At first, shout out to Glover. He had a good strategy. And Thiago just couldn't really stop the takedown. So at first, I'm not going to really come down too hard on Thiago. What are you going to do? Although, to be fair, you're fucking Brazilian. How on earth your jiu-jitsu is that terrible, I don't really know. Now, if that was, I don't know, some Polish prick or fucking, Yair Rodriguez from the depths of Mexico, maybe you get a pass for your jiu-jitsu being that bad. Thiago, you grew up in Brazil where they invented it. You've been fighting for a month of Sundays. How on earth could your jiu-jitsu be that bad? I mean, yeah, settle down. I understand that Glover's top game and his pressure game is nasty, but Jesus fucking Christ. Glover would take Thiago down, and he was just flat on his back like a helpless fish. He pulled guard. Goddamn, Thiago, I could have pulled guard. He'd pull guard and just fucking wait. Now, I guess he was just trying to get the stand-up. But then we'll get to the fucking good part. Cute cocksucker actually fucking rocks him. What was that, third round?
Well, it wasn't the fourth because they only made it to the third.
Okay, so it was third round then, third round. And to be fair, Thiago Santos looked fantastic on his feet. He just could not stop the takedown in the first couple rounds at all. And then when he got taken down, he could not get back to his feet at fucking all. But in the third round, the good fucking MMA lords blessed him with a shot that put Glover right on his keister.
Just real quick, before you even keep going, I have to do this because I'm going to forget and I'll be upset.
Fair
Right,
enough.
but let me pull up your Twitter real quick.
All right.
I'm just going to read. I'm just going to read what's happening as you're watching that fight.
The succession of what's going on while I'm the moment that I'm about to describe.
All right. So your first tweet is shout out to Glover for getting that cute little takedown. But when Santos gets up, his ass is grass.
I mean, that was the first round because he comes out, he thumps Glover a few times. Glover gets the takedown. I was like, all right, I see what you did there. Held him down there. But we know what happens when he gets up.
Your next tweet is me seeing Glover get a takedown with 4.5 minutes left in the round. And it's the meme from Liar Liar where Jim Carrey's
ripping his hair out.
Ripping his hair out.
Yeah, and that's if I'm not mistaken, that's the beginning of the second round. They come out and boom, he takes him down immediately. I'm like, cute cocksucker.
Your next tweet is he landed over 100 strikes, yet Santos doesn't have a cut on him.
That's a fact. They gave us that statistic. He was at 103 strikes, Bob. I'm like, why is Santos not have a scratch on his face? But fair enough.
Your next tweet is get up, all capitals, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. It's 5.
Right after he drops him. And he drops him and jumps right down there with him. And the first thing I'm thinking is, get the fuck up, Santos.
Your next tweet is get off the fucking ground. And then your next tweet is, are you, all capitals, fucking kidding me?
Is there a timestamp from when I put get off the ground to where I put, are you fucking kidding me?
And then your next tweet is, well, that was completely fucked.
Because it was. For fuck's sake. To be fair, I had Thiago Santos on my goddamn DraftKings thing, too. So, I mean, this is just, I had a dog in the race. But I am like, you sit him down. You jump on top of him. So fair enough. At first, when you sit him down, you jump on top of him. I'll give you about 5-10 seconds. Maybe you can land a couple big shots and get him out of there. Once you realize you're not going to land that shot, get off of the ground, dude. You have been getting mobbed on the ground the whole time. And then before I could even fix my fucking Twitter fingers to get the next tweet out, Glover somehow miraculously from fucking half guard reverses you, gets on your back. It's almost like you fucking quit. I don't know what happened. I fucking sneezed, and Glover was choking him out. It's almost like the goddamn grappling equivalent of Chet Congo and Pat Barry. I mean, what happened? Thiago sits him down, jumps on top of him, thumps him 3 or 4 decent times in the head, and the next thing I know, Glover flips him over and chokes him out. Fucking what the fuck happened? The worst fight IQ in the fucking game, Thiago. For fuck's sakes, you had the fight won.
Was it bad fight IQ, or did he just, or was
this submission, or is
just not all BJJ created equal?
Fuck created equal. His BJJ fucking sucks. If that's the case, and you know what? To be fair, it still comes down to his fight IQ, motherfucker. If you know your grappling is that bad, or rather, Glover's grappling is just that superior to yours, again, fucking get up. Get the fuck away from him on the goddamn fucking ground. What the fuck is up with these motherfuckers wanting to play with people on the ground that they know they can't play with? Goddamn, he's rocked. Get away from him. If you make him stand up, you're probably going to knock him out. Like, you're controlling the fight on the feet. Why the fuck would you go to the mat? Even if he is rocked. Like, do not go to the fucking ground with him.
Yeah.
And hypothetically, getting completely on tangent here, God forbid they ever do line up the Conor-Habib fight, same fucking advice. Conor, if you ever get lucky enough to sit Habib down, do not go towards him. Make the ref make him get up and then hit him again. Like, that's a rule that you can do. You're allowed to chase him to the ground, but you don't fucking got to. Make him stand the fuck up.
So next week, by the way, we have Contender Series on Tuesday. We got Bellator on Thursday.
Okay.
Which is a Pitbull card.
Fair enough.
We got one championship on Friday.
Okay.
In the morning, which is John Lineker's on that card.
Okay. A reason for, like, UFC fans to tune in.
And then you got a card on Saturday. This is a good MMA week.
Oh, yeah.
This is a rock-solid MMA week. So this Saturday...
It's a hardcore dream, too. Like, none of these fights are real big, sexy names, but they're all very good fights, though. Islam Makhachev and RDA is going to be
and this
nasty.
is going to be an early card on Saturday. It kicks off at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh, okay.
So a bit of an early card. Not a whole lot of other stuff on the card. Alassane is in the co-main event against Chaos Williams. You got Saperback Safarov and Julian Marquez.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be fair, there's not a whole lot on this card.
Eric Anders is on this card.
Look at Eric getting that money.
On the main.
You know,
pretty much.
You know, side note here. Sorry to cut you off.
McKee, Louis Samolka is early on against Quinones. That's pretty much about it. Tony Gravely is kicking the card off. I think he's a CES guy.
Little side note. COVID has actually been good for some of these fighters, man.
Getting them opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, they're just competing a lot, which means they're making a lot of money. I mean, you know, they might not be getting rich, but fuck, man. Some of these guys.
Tony Gravely was not a CES guy. Oh, yes, he was. Yes, he was. I said he was, and then I doubted it, and then I looked, and I went too far back.
Some of these fucking dudes are fighting 2 or 3 times a month. That's fucking good. You know, it's probably more money than they've been making in a long time. Just being able to compete so much, get these fucking paydays.
Agreed. You like seeing it, you know?
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's good. That's cool, man.
Let's take a look at the One Championship card. I wonder what else they did on this one. I don't know a lot about One Championship, so I'm not going to recognize any of these names.
But before, are we going to come back to the Glover, or are we done with that?
We will, yeah.
Okay. Just make sure we come back.
In fact, we can right now. I'm just seeing. I was just kind of looking ahead, and I was realizing I was like, oh, we got like legitimate stuff.
Shit coming up.
Emmanuel Sanchez and Daniel Weichel is in the co-main.
That's not bad.
On Bellator. Aaron Pico's on the prelims.
Okay. They got to keep him busy.
Pat Casey's on the prelims. Devin Powell, UFC guy.
Okay.
It's all on the prelims. There's like only a couple fights. There's only 3 fights in the main card per Tapology, so I don't know what that means.
Bellator's cards are thin these days, man.
Logan Storley is the first fight on there, who's a wrestler. He's 11-0.
You know what might be an interesting narrative now, just sort of thinking about this? Dare I say that COVID might end up costing Bellator?
They just switched over to CBS, right?
Right.
So I guess we'll see kind of what that looks like. And this is a Thursday card. So, I mean, we'll see. They don't have... I think that's probably smart, honestly.
I tell you what, dude, and I guess it's just sort of getting going, but I haven't been excited for a Bellator card. Like, really excited. Like, that Bellator hasn't put on a card that I'm like, fuck, I can't miss this one. I can't remember. Since before the pandemic, probably. I mean, it's been a while. Like, I've watched some Bellator fights. I will watch Pitbull fight. I will probably watch the co-main. But that's for sure all I will watch on this Bellator card. I mean, unless something crazy happens, I'll catch the highlights on Twitter. But the Bellator cards have been thin, dog. Like, you know, one decent fight at the top, and then that is fucking it, Jack. You know. I feel like they bought a lot of aging stars, and now their stars are just sort of aged. You know, the Fedors and the Matt Mitriones and all these sort of guys that they sort of bought coming out. Like, these dudes are, like, old now.
Yeah.
Like, legit old. They just lost Michael Chandler. Like, I don't know, man. We'll have to see. COVID might end up costing Bellator, Jack.
Next up for Glover. To quote Fred, for all of me, give him the title shot. I give him the title shot, even if it means you delay Izzy.
Okay, yeah. See, I disagree with that for sure. I disagree with that completely. I like Glover, and quite frankly, I think him and Jan is a pretty good fight and actually quite winnable for Glover. But I don't want to see Izzy fight Robert Whittaker again. I want to see Izzy move up to 205. Listen, well, I guess you can do that. I'll say, listen, if Glover wants to something, fucking give fucking Glover Izzy.
He's got to fight for the title, man. Dude, he's fucking 40-something. Like, let's not squander this. This is a Cinderella story, potentially in the making. Don't squander it. Give him a chance, because if he wins, what a cool story. What a cool story.
Is that what we're here for, though?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
I thought we were here to find out who the best fighters on earth was, not Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, but we don't need. Izzy beating Jan doesn't prove anything. Izzy beating John does.
Oh, no,
That's what we care about.
No. Izzy beating Jan means, listen, Izzy hasn't done shit at 205.
So then wouldn't Teixeira beating, how would Teixeira beating Jan mean something different than Adesanya beating Jan?
Because Adesanya is way bigger of a star. And Glover, what's Glover going to do if he does beat Jan? Retire next? He's definitely not about to go on a run defending the belt.
Then he can fight Adesanya.
I guess. I put Adesanya on the shelf for a while. Yeah. And then what do we all think happens in that goddamn fight? Like, I suppose I just feel like we're prolonging.
I think if Teixeira
Are you just trying to give Glover a fucking gimme at the end so that he gets a chance to win the belt?
Yes.
Okay, well, fuck, I guess. I don't suppose I have much wrong with that.
Yes,
but,
I am.
Look, I suppose.
Just let them. He's fucking.
You know what? All right.
The man's older than Biden. Just give him a chance,
all right.
baby.
For fuck's sakes, fine, Kyle. You're pulling on my fucking cock strings. Listen, fine. Let fucking Izzy beat up Robert Whittaker again, because apparently there's a few of you jerks out there that think that's a fucking competitive fight. And give Glover his fucking shot at Jan. And guess what? You fucking dickheads. Whoever wins, you know what your fucking prize is? You get Izzy after he beats up Robert. He's going to come beat the fuck out of you. So congratulations if that's what you want. But I guess to your point, to be fair, it'll give him the chance to win the belt. For me, to be completely honest with you, and I know I'm just being a cunt here, but to me, it's not real. Like, even Jan being the champ, right? We all know what happened here. John left, all right? He went to heavyweight. So Jan sort of got this belt that really isn't his either. If Glover does move up and beat Jan, yeah, he'll be the champion. He will have got the belt. But, like, if we're all keeping it a bean, do we think it's, listen, one thing you got to give Bisping, he actually beat the guy. Bisping actually beat Luke Rockhold when Luke Rockhold was Luke motherfucking Rockhold.
Sure.
So, but this wouldn't really be that. For all of me, I suppose, yeah, give him the, whatever. Far be it from me to fucking ruin on the fucking poor prick's parade. But if we're being realistic here, it's like, he won't, well, fucking, he ain't my champion, Jack. Sorry.
I just feel like that it's the same thing, though, if Izzy fights him. It's like, at the end of the day, what does that prove either?
Well, I don't know. Is he special? He's got that certain je ne sais quoi. We've seen Glover get destroyed by John. We've seen Jan get knocked out by the dude that Glover just beat, for fuck's sakes. We've seen all these guys sort of lose. Izzy still got that Superman appeal, that Anderson Silva 2007 or 6 appeal. Like, we don't know how good Izzy is. Like, don't get me. I will say this. If Izzy didn't exist and if Jared Cannonier had won at middleweight and that fight was sort of happening, I'd be all over Jan and Glover for now. Again, it's sort of like two old dogs fighting for a bone that John didn't want. But I do think that that's a cool matchup at this point, though. Taking everything else out of it, the idea of Glover fighting Jan, that's a fun fight for me now. That fight is very interesting. Again, the best fights for me are the ones where I truly don't know who's going to win. Or at least I never know who's going to win. What the fuck do I know? But I always think I know. I'm always like, okay, well, this should happen. I think Leon Edwards is going to beat the fuck out of Hazmat. I don't think he's all that we think he is. I very well could be wrong. But at least I think that's what's going to happen. What the fuck? Like, with Jan and Glover, I would sort of have no idea. I would favor fucking Jan on the feet in that fight, obviously. Glover has a fucking tendency to get hit. Jan hits real hard. That's not a good mesh. But I will give Glover this. He has a fucking innate ability to get the dog shit knocked out of him and then still somehow wrestle you to the ground. And not only wrestle you to the ground, but end up in a very advantageous position once y'all get there. I will give Glover that. He is a very fucking crafty grappler. And just to go on a little rant here, maybe that's why he's so successful. Now that I think about it, who's a fucking crafty grappler at 205? Like, who's got really nasty grappling at 205? You know, we don't really got a Damian Maia or a Habib. I mean, there are guys that can wrestle, sure. John can wrestle. But who's that dude that, like, if he grabs you at 205, oh, shit, you might be in trouble? It's sort of a lot of strikers, you know what I mean? Maybe the random sort of, like, lay and pray fucking wrestler. But, like, there's not a lot of, like, really high-level grapplers at 205. And I feel like maybe Glover just sort of takes advantage of that because he fucking steamrolled fucking Santos on the ground. And quite frankly, seems like that's how he wins most of his fights. He just somehow gets you on the ground and then just goes to work on you.
Yeah. I'm not like, and I also understand he's going up in weight, and that's what also gives it the significance. And
well, right. Makes it a sexier,
but it's just like, okay, true or false, though. We didn't really give a shit about Izzy winning a belt at 205. That wasn't even what it was about. It was about him fighting John Jones.
Sure.
That's what it was about. So now that that's no longer a prospect, really now the new prospect is he could win potentially at 205. So it's like, why not just give Glover the fucking shot? He doesn't have much time left here. Just give him the shot and be done with it.
I'm not terribly mad at it. And the only problem with that is then what does Izzy do in the meantime? And like I said, I guess, you know, if Robert Whitaker, you know, wants to fucking stop sitting on his thumbs and actually take the fight, we could do that fight again. I don't love it, but at least there is some fight there for fucking Izzy at 85.
Right.
And then he can always move up to 205 after that and sacrifice whichever one of those old shitbirds wins. Because that's, you know, I've seen somebody pop right in my little mentions. Oh, no, you think Izzy be able to handle Glover now? Yes. Yes, I do. I think if Izzy moved up tomorrow, he beats the absolute dog shit out of Glover Teixeira. I like Glover, but if you thought that fucking Tiago was landing on fucking Glover's face, I think Izzy lights Glover up like a fucking Christmas tree. And I don't think he's nowhere near stupid enough to, you know, I think if fucking Glover touches fucking Izzy, he's fucking bouncing back like a cat and just lighting Glover on fire. So, you know, shout out to whoever that fucking dude was. Like, what do you think about Glover versus Izzy now? Nothing. The exact same thing I thought before this fight happened. I think if fucking Glover's ever unfortunate enough to get in the fucking cage with Izzy, and to be fair, it's almost not a fair fight. Glover is an old man towards the end of his career. He obviously still punches hard and he's got a lot of power. Izzy's fucking fast. He's sharp. He's at the. I hate fights like that. Izzy fighting Glover it shouldn't be fucking regulated. It shouldn't even make regulated. It's not fair. Izzy's so much younger and faster. It's like Uriah Hall fighting fucking Anderson Silva fucking last weekend. Oh, you knocked out Anderson. Congratulations, bro. He's like your uncle. And I mean, I know he's a legend, but like, what the fuck does it really mean at that point? Tell you what, if I was a younger guy, I wouldn't take those fucking fights.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting Anderson Silva because if I fucking do anything to him, we're all just going to point to the fact that he's 132 years old. God forbid he actually rocks me. I'm not fighting Glover. Look what fighting Glover did to Anthony Smith. He fought Glover. And let me tell you something.
We don't talk about Anthony Smith anymore.
And let me tell you something. You know what? Fucking Tiago's about to get put right in that conversation, too. The fucking land of wind and ghosts. We're not going to fucking hear about those dudes no more. You lose to somebody like Glover at the fucking tail end of his career. I mean, yes, Glover gets credit, but we also shit on you for taking the L.
That is the age-old, like, conundrum there. Like, when you fight these guys, what does it really do?
Ultimately, like, what does it do for you getting a win over Anderson Silva at this point in his career? Like, ultimately, it doesn't really do nothing.
Yeah, which we talked about last
week.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a risk. It's a major risk.
So the next pay-per-view we have here, and then we'll wind down here. We got 2 title fights. You got 125, both men and women.
Okay. No, I won't. I was going to incriminate myself. I won't do it.
What are you going to say?
I ain't paying for this. I'm sorry, Jack. I ain't paying for this.
So here's your main card.
Y'all, before you get going, let me cry about this for a minute. You're not slick, UFC. Okay, you're not fucking slick. You gave us your two title fights on one pay-per-view. The 2 shittiest belts you could possibly fucking give us. Yeah, I like Edwin Figueiredo, and you know that's cute and all. And Shevchenko's obviously a thing. But these two title fights are about the absolute two weak. I see why you put them on the same fucking card, because you know these motherfuckers ain't selling no pay-per-views on their goddamn own. Even them together doesn't quite get my pussy wet. I mean, I'll be watching, but for fuck's sakes.
Devson Figueiredo, Alex Perez, Valentina Shevchenko, Jennifer Maia. Those are our two title fights. Okay? The fight on the card, obviously, is neither one of those. It's the long-awaited rematch between Shogun and Paul Craig. Then you got at 125, you got Brandon Moreno and Brandon Raval. I assume for a contender fight.
That's actually pretty
And
good.
then on the main, rounding out the main, you got Caitlin Chikagian versus Cynthia Calvillo.
Boy, I tell you, Kyle, it's a good thing you ain't got a noose down here nowhere, because I'd just soon jump through it. First off, Caitlin Chikagian, can we please trade you? I hate your last name. I just don't like seeing you on cards. I don't give a shit how you fight. I'm so sick and tired of watching Caitlin Chikagian fight because I hate saying her last name. I know it's not fair, but fuck off. B, I have no earthly conception what is happening where we're watching Shogun fight Paul Craig twice. I don't know what's happening.
So that's the fight on the card, man.
Why are they having a rematch exactly?
They had a draw.
For fuck's
This is the problem with your whole fucking system, bro. You want a bunch of draws? This is the shit you're going to get.
Okay, well,
This is the shit you're going to get if you're going to have a bunch of draws.
Rewind 10 minutes ago where I said fucking people above 80 shouldn't fight. Shogun shouldn't be fighting Paul Craig. Why'd they fight the first time?
I don't know.
I mean, why? Again, Shogun's one of those guys, dude,
That's
where
real valid.
he's
That's real
just
valid.
he's just so old at this point. Like, dude, real talk, all bullshit aside, I would have rather seen Shogun retire a few years ago than see him fighting guys like Paul Craig. I mean, people don't listen to me. For you younger fans that don't understand why something, and this is like hyperbole aside, for the younger fans who might not understand why something like this is so sort of weird for somebody like me, imagine right now. Who are our guys? Habib and Izzy, right?
Yeah. I
like
mean,
Habib and Izzy. Let's just say them two dudes. Fast forward 5 years from now, and Habib is fighting a no-namer.
or not even 5 years. You fast forward like 7 years.
No, well, whatever.
That would be similar.
Whatever. The point is, Shogun used to be Habib. Shogun used to be the absolute pound-for-pound best fighter on fucking earth. He came to the UFC and knocked out Chuck Liddell when Chuck Liddell was the fucking man. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen what he did to Rampage and Pride, but it's probably one of the greatest knockouts of all time. Did you ever make it to that Pride?
The soccer kick?
Well, no, the knee. He hits him with the knee on the ropes, and Rampage falls through the ropes. I mean, it's literally like Shogun's back is against the ropes, and he's got Rampage in the Muay Thai clinch, and he's kneeing him in the belly and the face, and he lands the last knee right on fucking Rampage's chin, and Rampage goes right through the rope, like belly on the middle rope, hanging over the rope, completely out cold, blood leaking out of his face. And this is when Rampage was an absolute monster. Like, Shogun was the absolute best fighter on planet Earth for a small moment. And to just seem now, again, I'm not trying to shit on Paul Craig either. It's just weird. I don't want to see Israel Adesanya fighting the motherfucking 32 ranked guy in the world and possibly going to get knocked out by him 6 years from now. It's just weird, man. Shogun wasn't just a good fighter. He was a great, great fighter.
Yeah.
That's when it's weird. It's the same thing with BJ Penn. You know, you're not talking about a guy who used to be sort of good. You're talking about a guy who was fucking world-class champion, multiple weight divisions. I mean, you know, one of the absolute best. And to now see him getting fucking, you know, just demolished by guys that he would, again, if Shogun and Pride, the Shogun that fought Rampage and Pride, if he fought Paul Craig, he would massacre that boy. And I know that's not fair. It is what it is. It's just weird to see things like this happen in their career where it's like, we know you might. The only reason this fight is close is because Shogun is so old and shop worn. Like, if Shogun was 25 and this fight happens, he destroys you, Paul. And that's not me trying to be a cunt. It's just true. But at one point in time, before all the injuries and all the wars, Shogun was one of the most talented 205ers that ever fought on planet Earth. And that's just a fact.
Yeah. It's I can understand it. Like, watching that happen would be, very strange.
Yeah, it's like I remember when Shogun was that guy, and now it's like he's in there having these wars with the likes of Paul Craig. It's fucking weird, sort of, man. Like,
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'll take it, but whatever. It's fucking weird.
All right. We out of here. Anything else you want to add?
No, I guess that's it. We don't got no news on John Jones. We've got no news on Conor McGregor. We've got nothing really too extremely breaking or pressing, right? They didn't sign Conor. John's not signed.
Yep. We have no idea what's happening there. What's your? Do you want to give your final predictions here? When does Khabib fight again?
No idea yet. We have to wait on that. I mean, definitely not till next year.
Yeah. Do you think he fights in 2021?
I do.
Fights in 2022?
Yeah. He fights in 2021.
All right.
I think he fights in 2021.
Do
for sure.
you think Conor's next fight is Dustin Poirier, or do you think it's Justin Gaethje?
I think it's Justin Poirier. I think they get that fight done. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Usually, I think it probably even happens on January 21st or 24th, whenever they're saying.
I mean, we have a vacant title right now, and UFC isn't talking about it at all.
Well,
so that is interesting, and that means they're doing something behind the scenes.
Right, exactly. That means
or they would have come out and said something.
Yeah, which makes me think that yes, more than likely we're getting Conor and Dustin, and they're just going to make it for the belt.
Which happens first? Khabib announces he's coming back, or Conor announces he's retiring?
Khabib announces he's coming back. I mean, Conor might announce it, I guess, but like
I'm not saying Conor retiring. I'm saying
announces he's retiring.
Okay,
well, maybe Conor announcing he announces he retire every fucking other week.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's the next thing, when he's going to post something about having cheese and he's retiring.
I will say this about Conor, and I don't mean to talk shit because that's my boy, but like just real talk, I do think that Conor is one devastating loss away from being done with the sport.
Agreed.
I do sort of feel like he's got the Ronda Rousey thing. I think he'll come back, and if he destroys Dustin, as long as he's destroying, I think he might keep going. If he comes out and Dustin knocks him out cold, sleeps him, I think Conor like, fuck this. I don't need to do it. I'm not going to be embarrassed if I'm not going to be, the GOAT, or at least in that conversation. I'll just go spend my money.
All right. We out of here, y'all.
There's that.
Talk soon.
Peace.